Before we jump into my top 100 players series for the 2022-2023 NBA season, let me give a little bit of an introduction. Over the next 11 days, I'll be uploading videos for this series. My top 100 list is based on how I think players will perform next season. Obviously, we take the past into account with that, but there's also some projection here. After this series, we will have a mailbag, and then we'll jump into some player previews for the rest of the year. Now, I plan on uploading some NBA content on a NBA Uprise channel. There's a link in the top of the description box below if you want to go subscribe to that. With that being said, let's get started. Isaiah Hartenstein took a jump last season for the Los Angeles Clippers. He only played 18 minutes per game, but in those 18 minutes averaged over 8 points per game, about 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, over a block per game, and almost a steal per game. Per 36, his numbers are extremely impressive, as he's a guy that can score on the interior, has also shown flashes of a three-point shot as he shot 14 for 30 from 3 last year, showed some impressive passing chops for a big man, and analytically, his rim protection is elite according to Basketball Index. He left the Clippers to sign with the New York Knicks this past offseason, and that was one of the most underrated signings in the league. There, he will form a center duo with Mitchell Robinson, and I think there's a solid chance that Isaiah Hartenstein becomes a starting big man for the Knicks next year, whether that's due to Robinson getting injured or Hartenstein outplaying him. Bobby Portis has become one of the premier offensive big men in the NBA. He was a key contributor off the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks in their 2021 NBA Finals run, and last season, due to Brook Lopez's injury, Portis started 59 of the 72 games that he played. In those games, he averaged almost 15 points per game, 9 rebounds, and shot 48% from the field, including 53% from 2 and a whopping 39% from 3. Portis is one of the best shooting big men in the league, and can also do a little bit of damage off the dribble. He's also a locker room and fan favorite, and at 6'10" can play either the power forward or center positions. Portis has also developed himself into an okay defensive big man, and when you have the offensive talent that he does, it lands you on this list. Dorian FinneySmith, or often referred to as DFS for short, is one of the most consistently reliable 3-and-D forwards in the entire league. Undrafted in 2016, he caught on with the Dallas Mavericks, and in his rookie year, started almost half the season. And now heading into his 7th season, he's still a Maverick, and was a key piece of their defensive turnaround last year, which resulted in them being in the Western Conference Finals. Last season, he averaged 11 points and almost 5 rebounds, while shooting 47% from the field, which includes 60% from 2 and 39.5% from 3. His efficiency numbers were pretty much identical to last season's, and on the defensive end, he gets the job done. 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan, he can guard 4 positions, he often gets assigned the best opposing offensive player, and a lot of people consider him to be a lockdown defensive piece. He's not going to block a lot of shots or force a lot of steals, but he moves his feet well, he stays in front, uses his length well to bother and contest shots, and brings a lot of value on the defensive side of the ball. On offense, he's extremely efficient, doesn't make many mistakes, and doesn't force shots. He shoots threes when he gets them, and then he can attack closeouts if they're too overzealous. FinneySmith is a glue guy, and he's one of the better ones in the league. Kuzma had the best year of his career last year in his first season in Washington. After 4 years in Los Angeles that saw his production wane at times, Kuzma set a career high in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game, averaging 17 points, 8.5 boards, and 3.5 assists. While his efficiency has always been questionable, he was only a 34% three-point shooter last year, right in line with his career numbers. He can get hot and even take over some games, and his improvement on the boards, as well as a playmaker for others, has made him a more well-rounded player and finally deserving of being on this list. After spending 3 seasons with the Boston Celtics from 2016 to 2019, Al Horford returned to them last season in a year where they almost won an NBA championship. In 29 minutes, Horford averaged 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, while shooting 47% from the field, which includes 58% from 2 and 34% from 3. However, in the playoffs, that 3-point shooting number skyrocketed as he shot 47 for 98 behind the 3-point arc. That's a whopping 48%, and in the finals, he was even better. better, as he shot 15 for 24 against the Warriors for a 62% shooting clip from 3. It was obvious that Al Horford wanted an NBA championship. At 36 years of age, he's not getting any younger. But outside of his three-point shot, he still brings a lot of value as a guy that can finish around the rim. He's not the quickest player, but he's crafty and uses his body well. He can also pass the ball. He's had seasons where he's had 4, even 5 assists per game, and he's not going to turn the ball over. He averaged less than 1 turnover per game last year. Defensively, he can switch out onto guards and contain them. He's not the quickest laterally, but his reaction time is very, very good. And then he can still protect the rim a little bit, making him a good defensive piece as well. Gordon Hayward was a tough guy to rank. On one hand, he's still a serviceable player. He averaged 16 points per game last year in 32 minutes for the Charlotte Hornets. He shot 46% from the field and 39% from 3. He can still make plays for others at a decent level for a forward, and he's still a talented player. However, he isn't quite the same Gordon Hayward he was in Boston, and certainly not Utah. He's dealt with numerous injury problems the past few years, and he's become one of the most overpaid contracts in the league. So while there is some negatives with a guy like him, when he is available, he is still one of the top 100 players in the league. He's an adequate defender, not good, not bad, but he can provide you with some 3-level scoring, some passing abilities, some slashing, and can still occasionally take over a game or two. I fully expect a Rui Hachimura breakout season this year. And after averaging almost 14 points per game in his rookie and sophomore seasons, Rui Hachimura had some weird circumstances around him last year, missed some time due to personal reasons, and then came back to a Washington Wizards team that was loaded with power forwards. You still have Deni Avdija and Kyle Kuzma there. However, I think Rui Hachimura provides the most offensive upside, which is something that the Washington Wizards need. Last season, in only 22 minutes per game, Hachimura averaged 11 points per game, including 49% from the field and a whopping 45% from 3. Now, I think he overachieved from the three-point line. However, that was the knock on him in his first couple of seasons, where he shot right around 30%. If that three-point improvement is legitimate, Hachimura becomes a very deadly 3-level scorer. He'll get some open looks off the ball, playing off a guy like Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis, and the three-point shot was the one thing holding Hachimura back. If he gets a starting role and averages 30 minutes per game like he did his first 2 years, I could easily see him becoming the Wizards' third option, averaging around 16 points per game. Jakob Poeltl is underrated. He was one of the pieces that the Raptors traded for Kawhi Leonard along with DeMar DeRozan, and with DeMar DeRozan gone, Poeltl is still in San Antonio, and he had his most impressive season ever last year. On the season, in only 29 minutes per game, he averaged 13.5 points, 9 rebounds, and almost 3 assists, while also averaging 1.7 blocks per game. He's a big man that can pass, finish around the rim, he shot 62%, as well as block some shots. He's not going to impress you with his shooting capabilities. He's hovered right around 50% from the free throw line during his entire career and has never made a 3, but he's one of those centers that can defend every type of 5-man in the league, won't make mistakes, will make the right pass when the opportunity arises, and will finish off the pick and roll. Without DeJounte Murray, a lead guard and a skilled passer setting him up this season, it'll be interesting to see how Poeltl does. Herb Jones still seems to fly a little bit under the radar playing for the New Orleans Pelicans. The 35th overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft was a second-team all-rookie selection and made an impact right away for the Pelicans last year as a lockdown perimeter defender. He averaged almost 10 points per game, around 4 rebounds and 2 assists, and had an impressive 1.7 steals per contest. I expect a bit of a leap next season from Herb Jones. While his three-point shooting declined as the season went on, he shot 36% from 3 before the All-Star break and 30% after. I expect some steady improvement there, and he's also a better ball handler than people realize, and a decent athlete that can do some damage off the dribble. You could make the argument that Herb Jones was a top 100 player last season, given his defensive impact and then some of the things that he was able to do offensively. However, this year, I think his improvement will lock him in as a top 100 NBA player. Gary Trent Jr. has evolved into one of the better 3-and-D role players in the NBA. Last season for the Toronto Raptors, in 35 minutes per game, he averaged 18 points per game. That includes 38% shooting from 3 on almost 8 attempts per game, and he's not just a spot-up guy, he will shoot threes off step-backs and off movement as well. Defensively, he's always been a hard player to figure out. He averaged 1.7 steals per game last year, which is a really impressive number, but he is also prone to gambling a bit too much at times. However, when he's locked in, he can be a really good on-ball defender and a team defender as well, and at only 23 years of age, in an organization that has developed players well under Nick Nurse, there might still be a little bit of improvement left for Gary Trent Jr. That's a wrap for players 91 to 100. Tomorrow, I will have 81 to 90, so stay tuned. As I said at the start of the video, subscribe to NBA Uprise, link in the description box below, and I'm out of here. I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.